As the W is entering the best time of year, the NBA is just about to get started. We're 12 days away from seeing teams in official action. And we have a new addition to our team, ESPN senior insider Shams Charania, who is making his NBA Today debut. Shams, welcome. We are so excited to have you. I know you're busy, so we're just going to dive right into your notebook here. What have you been hearing about the possibility of the Lakers adding to their roster?
Malika, sources tell me the Lakers have been exploring potentially adding a big man, a center, to their roster. Not sure exactly when that'll take place, but they have started looking into the marketplace. Christian Wood remains sidelined. He's got a knee issue. He had surgery recently, and so they're waiting for him to be back. But Jackson Hayes, in the interim, has really stepped up in training camp, has been a positive factor for the Lakers. But another thing to keep an eye on, Malika, is Christian Koloko. They signed him to a two-way contract before training camp. He was expected to play a potential reserve role on this roster. And our Lakers reporter, Dave McMenamin, and I have heard internally the Lakers doctors have felt confident that he will be cleared by the league's fitness to play panel due to his blood clot issue. But that is still an ongoing process. The Lakers are still waiting for answers from the league, from the PA, on his clearance. That's going to be a major factor to keep an eye on, because this was a guy in Koloko who was going to play a potential role down the stretch of this Lakers season. Very
interesting. So the Lakers, for now, they're sort of seeing whether or not they could be adding a center to this roster. Shams, please do not go too far, because I heard you have some Knicks news for us a little bit later in the show. But before that, let's take a look at the Lakers' center rotation here. This is how things currently stand. Of course, you have 9-time All-Star Anthony Davis, the standout, but there aren't many starting options on the roster besides him, right? To allow AD to then shift to the 4. But here's the thing. As we say hello to Brian Windhorst, welcome back to Victor Oladipo and his excellent tailoring. Kendrick Perkins joining us as well. But Brian, wanting to sign a center is one thing, and we have certainly heard that from the Lakers before at times, but I want a lot of things. Actually going out and executing it is another. How realistic is this?
Yeah, there's two issues that the Lakers have here. Number one, they've been very protective of the 2 first-round picks that they are allowed to trade, and I understand that. If they're going to use those picks well into the future, well after LeBron James is no longer going to be a Laker, then they want to get a star player back. And I'm not so sure that they're going to be able to get a star-level center with those 2 picks. You know, you have a guy like Walker Kessler out there. The Jazz have made him available in the market, but they have a high asking price. He's not a star player. You have a guy like Robert Williams with the Portland Trailblazers, who's like sort of an extra center, but he's had injury problems. So the other thing about the Lakers is if they're going to use those picks, or if they're going to use any assets to improve their team, in all honesty, I'm not sure center is the number one choice. I think perimeter defense has been an issue for them, especially if they're going to play D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves together like J.J. Redick seems to want.
So, Brian, you don't think they need a center?
Well, I think they've got a Hall of Fame starting center.
Yeah, you know, for me, in my opinion, I think that AD is awesome at center. I think he would be a great fit there. You know, kind of shocking that he kind of wants to play the 4 a little more, but when he's at the 5, it's just so much harder to attack them, so much harder to guard them. He's very versatile defensively. He can do a bunch of things defensively, switch on the guards, switch on the bigs. So I could see why they would want him at center. So that's kind of why my question was, you know, do you think they really need one or not?
They need a backup center, right? A guy that they could rely on. I don't know if Jackson Hayes been that guy that's, you know, that they could rely on consistently to come in and do what they need him to do. But I said it last year. I said it last year at the trade deadline, and I'm going to stand on it right now, right? Everybody was talking about, oh, no, don't include the picks and Austin Reeves. We got to keep Austin Reeves. And I was saying, how about DeJounte Murray? Go get DeJounte Murray, right? In a guard-driven league, and especially in the Western Conference, when it's so talented at the perimeter position, you got to have defense. When I talked about the Sacramento Kings last night on the countdown, what did you tell me, Mr. Windhorst?
A lot of things.
Defense. When I praised the Dallas Mavericks, defensively, what are they going to do on the perimeter? The perimeter is the area that the Lakers need to address the most on the defensive side of things.
So who do you think they could draft, or excuse me, I said draft, Lord forgive me.
Go get.
Who do you,
well, that's
who do you think they could go get?
I don't
right
know.
Now
I don't know. You need to ask that
Brian?
to Wendy. My guy was DeJounte Murray, but I was told Austin Reeves was untouchable. They didn't want to include him.
What move, if there's any, that?
Well, let's take you back to the summer. If you remember, LeBron was willing to take less than a max contract salary to make room for a couple of different free agents. One of the guys on that list was Jonas Valanciunas, which Jonas Valanciunas is a fine player, but for LeBron to leave lots of money on the table for him, I think more than anything, it was an indication that LeBron was trying to help Anthony Davis out. Like, let me help you. I would take some less money. Let's see if Jonas Valanciunas might become available again during the season for the Wizards. They want to bring along Alex Sarr. Let's keep an eye on that one.
Well, remember, the Lakers, they found great success with that title team in 2020 with Anthony Davis having Dwight Howard on the roster, having JaVale McGee on the roster. But we've heard this before from L.A. Seeing if they can actually go out and execute that is something else entirely. A new era in San Antonio began last night with 12-time All-Star Chris Paul sharing the court with Victor Wembanyama for the very first time. This one against the Orlando Magic. This is what we've been waiting to see. It came late in the first quarter. We got our wish. Paul uses the Wembanyama screen, drives baseline, throws up to lob to Wembanyama for the jam. A connection we should get used to seeing. Here is what Paul had to say about this play.
I got caught in the air. I was in trouble, and it's nice to look over there and see him, to bail you out.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to look over there and see that.
It's the same.
And then, Wemby, what is this pass?
I'm still thinking about Mo Wagner having no idea what to do about that lob.
I mean,
because there's nothing you can do about a lob like that.
no.
Sorry, that was a great pass, too.
Well, and then
Fader.
a little midi.
Goodness.
Spurs next possession here. Wembanyama drives inside. Two-hand flush.
A little two-hand ceiling fan.
Ceiling fan.
Yeah, it wasn't a full windmill, but it was a little two-hand ceiling fan.
Soaring through the air on that one. And then look at in the corner, the bench reaction here to this. He hasn't even dunked the ball yet, and they're already hyped for that one.
Crazy.
And then later in the second, the Spurs working it. Ball comes back to Victor Wembanyama here for the easy layup. And then we're going to show you one more in the third quarter here. Greg Popovich coaching up CP. CP hides behind the Wembanyama screen and hits the three. Paul and Wembanyama each played 23 minutes. Here's Wemby on Chris Paul after the game.
Being on the court with him certainly feels like, he's got things in control. So reassuring a little bit. So one more teammate, I can rely on in a tough moments or in a doubt moments, so it's only positive.
You got to figure it out on the go, and I think that's what's cool about playing with somebody as good and smart as Vic. When we was running out to the court at halftime, we were talking, and he was like, "You're gonna see quick. I learn fast."
So CP3 has made a career of getting the best out of his centers, starting with Tyson Chandler, who averaged a career-high 11.8 points per game for Paul's Hornets in the 2007-8 season, where they made the West semis. And then for the Lob City Clippers, DeAndre Jordan led the NBA in field goal percentage in 5 straight seasons from 2012 to 2017. With who as his point guard? Oh, yeah, Chris Paul. And of course, Clint Capella had the best field goal percentage in the league in 2017-18, and then he averaged a career high in points per game in 2018-19 for the Rockets, and that came after Houston acquired one Chris Paul. And then in 2021 and 2022, DeAndre Ayton had the 2 best shooting percentages in a postseason with Chris Paul once again as his point guard. We were all just waiting to see that first lob thrown last night, and when it did, all of us were in studio together, all of us go, oh yeah, there it is. This is what we've been waiting for. How crucial is it, Brian, for Wemby's development now to have CP3?
That was an incredibly impressive little display there between all those centers. I mean, if you're Victor, how could you not be excited about that? Talking to people in San Antonio, one of the things that they said is Chris Paul is running basically daily clinics on the pick and roll with all of his teammates, including some of the young guards, but certainly with Victor Wembanyama. And they weren't really sure how Victor was going to take to Chris Paul. They obviously know that Victor likes to learn, but sometimes Chris can come on a little strong. Well, it's been, a magical pairing so far. Victor has been very eager to learn. They've been very happy with how he's wanted to work with Chris. And you saw just in the first couple of weeks what kind of difference they make. I don't know how you stop that lob. I really don't know what sort of defense you can draw up to deal with it.
Well, I'm going to turn it to you here, Vic, because you've actually played against CP3
A few times.
a couple of times. What specifically did you see in that connection?
Well, last night you could tell they were really trying to build the trust and connection between Wemby and CP3 last night in different sets. Offensively, in different sets, just in general. So, you know, it's exciting, especially basketball fans like myself. It's just exciting. It's only the beginning. And you can see on this play right here, you know, Chris Paul catches it and gets a sideline screen from Wemby. You know, Chris Paul's a mid-range threat, so you got to respect that. And the weak side, obviously, is not focused, unfortunately. And the lob that Brian talked about, that's unstoppable. I mean, it's just exciting for us basketball fans. We are really looking forward to more of that.
What do you see here? Yeah.
And on this play here, you just see, you know, I don't know why he jumped and trying to contest a 7-footer, but just Wemby doing Wemby things. So, and the Steelers fan windmill. It's just exciting, man. We're looking forward to his growth. Chris Paul's only going to add to his growth, and the sky, well, there is no limit.
But look, you talk about how any team is going to stop the lob. How are they going to stop this two-man game in the pick and roll, right, or the pick and pop? Because we know Wemby capabilities as far as him being able to pop out and shoot the three and do other things. It's the others around them that are going to have to up their game, Harrison Barnes and the rest of the young crew. But Victor Wembanyama last season, averaged about 10 points in the paint. Giannis averaged 20. Zion averaged, right around 16, 17. I'm looking for that number to go up for Victor Wembanyama. Like, he should be one of the tops in the league for his points in the paint, playing with one of the greatest point guards to ever do it.
Yeah, he ranked, our stats and info people tell us, 34th at points in the paint last year. I'm going to say it's a safe bet he's going up that list.
Yeah.
What's the bet? It's top 10?
We'll negotiate later.
I wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA, I'm a